नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लादलाददायिने हिरण्यकशिपोर्वक्षः शीलाटङ्कानकालाये इतो न सिंहो परतो न सिंहो यतो यतो यामि ततो न सिंहो बहिर्नरसिंहो हृदये नरसिंहो नरसिंहमदें शरणं प्रपद्ये तव करकमलवरे नभा अद्भुत श्रृंगार दालिता हिरण्यकशिपो तानुभृंगा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद नरसिंह भगवान की प्रहलाद महाराज की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि
can move forward. Mataji is also. Move front. Anyone who has small kids, they shouldn't make noise during class. Otherwise, you will have to go to reception or the other side. Mute your cell phone.
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballava Givanidhari Gopi Jana Ballava Givanidhari Yasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Haribo Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballava Girivanidhari Gopi Jana Ballava Girivanidhari Yasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Tonight's verse, that is from Canto 3, Chapter 7, Text 20. Repeat the Sanskrit words together after me. Rati, Raso, Bhavet, Yat Sevaya, Bhagavata, Kutta, Sasya, Madhu, Vissa, Rati Raso, Bhavettira, Hadayo, Yasananda Nanda. And the translation is, this Canto 3, Chapter 7, Text 20. Repeat after me, English translation. By serving the feet of the spiritual master, one is enabled to develop transcendental ecstasy in the service of the personality of Godhead, who is the unchangeable enemy of the Madhu demon, and who services, vanquishes one's material distress. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The association of a bona fide spiritual master, like the sage Maitreya, can be of absolute help in achieving transcendental attachment for the direct service of the Lord. The Lord is the enemy of the Madhu demon, or in other words, he's the enemy of the sufferings of his pure devotees. The word Rati Rasa is significant in this verse. Service to the Lord is rendered in different transcendental mellows, relationships, neutral, active, friendly, parental, and nuptial or conjugal. A living entity in the liberated position of transcendental service to the Lord becomes attracted to one of the above mentioned mellows. And when one is engaged in transcendental loving service to the Lord, one's service attachment in the material world is automatically vanquished, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Rasa vayam raso piyasya param drisva nivatate. Yat sevaya bhagavata kuta sahasya madhu drisha rati raso bhavetivra padayo vyasaya nandana. By serving the feet of the spiritual master, one is enabled to develop transcendental ecstasy in service of the personality of Godhead, who is the unchangeable enemy of the Madhu demon, and whose services vanquishes one's material distress. Om Aginam Timirandasya Gyanam Ginam Shalakaya Chaksu Militam Denam Tajmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So this is a very important verse in the Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavatam, you'll find so much information on how to become, self-realized. How to become self-realized means also how to become happy. That is the thing, because material life is promised us so much nice things, right? so much nice happiness we're going to get. We're going to have enjoy all the time, right? Is that true? No, it's not a fact. It's not a fact. We find ourselves struggling more than enjoying in material life. You know, so this verse has a lot of information. This great sage, saintly person, pure devotee, his name is Sri Maitreya Rishi, very popular in the Vedic information. We're depending on these realized souls and their realization to help us. We're not depending on ourselves totally. We're getting the information from these great souls, whether it's Srila Vyasadeva or Narada Muni. They're all, what their topics are is to help us. Help us in doing what? You know, help us in coming to this point of ecstasy. Transcendental ecstasy is what's available in Krishna consciousness. This is the real way to be happy. Because happiness, if you don't have ecstasy, what do you have? You don't have ecstasy, what do you have? You have some temporary sense satisfaction. So how good is that going to be? How much is that the value? You know, here today, gone tomorrow. So that's a problem in material life. It doesn't matter if you're in a big fancy hotel, you're still faced with the same thing. You're not going to find happiness in material sense gratification. It's just a fact of life. That's because you're born, your happiness is with Krishna, and love of Krishna is your happiness. That is called, in this verse, that is called transcendental ecstasy. So that is the development. Not that we just, we become nice, you know, and pleasant people talking to others. No, the point is that we develop transcendental ecstasy, which is ultimately impressive to other people. Just like we were impressed by Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada, he is always in transcendental ecstasy. And in material life, you'll find people are trying to get this ecstatic platform from either taking drugs or doing whatever. But ultimately, they become unsatisfied, right? And then what's on the horizon? You know, old age. Old age is like a demon on the horizon, getting ready to chew you up, you know. So it's a matter of time while we have our faculties, like our arms or legs, you know, our head is not a headache. And so we can prosecute this devotional service from the first thing, from hearing, Shravanam, you know. You offer your ears to the spiritual master. The spiritual master is not like a, you know, not like a robber or something. The spiritual master is not like a play with your mind or something. No. This is the information that we're getting to make our lives perfect. And that is always been like that in the Vedic culture. And now Krishna has decided this Vedic culture, there's a time, his incarnation, he's spreading it throughout the world. Used to be Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri. Now Rath Yatra is in every little nick and corner of the place. I got a Rath Yatra. Every weekend there's about 3 or 4 Rath Yatras, right? So it's, you know, Rath Yatra city. And so the important point, how to get this ecstasy is in the services. We do the services, you know, because service is what? Service is out of love. Service is not out of like the whip, you know, bam, bam, do the service. That's in material life, right? What time am I getting off? I clock in at 9, I clock out at 6. That's material life. In Vaikuntha, you're not clocking in and clocking out, you know. You're not struggling to be happy. You're not struggling to be alive. You're not struggling to keep your body together. In Vaikuntha, is described that you have a spiritual body. Satchitananda Vigaha. That is the understanding. That is the science also. We're all like scientists because we investigate into what the reality is. You know, we investigate, and we also like scientists because we test and we mix and we test everything. And when we see how it comes out, then we have faith that it will work. So we're like scientists. We're not just sentimentalists. You know, if you're not a sentimentalist with Krishna, you're a fool. If you think sentiment is a small thing, then you're misguided. And if you think philosophy is bigger than sentiment, you're not going to be make any progress with that. So we have to stop our looking down on sentiment, Just like Lord Chaitanya, he was defeating all of these philosophers, everything like that. But then in the end, he just started to preach love of God. And this is what the Krishna conscious movement is preaching, love of God. We need devotees to develop love of God. Because when somebody develops love of God, then they can give that love to other people. And other people will become inspired with that. And it's all about inspiration, If you have somebody, that is why you have serving the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Why? Because the spiritual master is inspirational. He's like Prabhupada, very inspirational person. One person can do so much because he inspired a lot of other people, a lot of devotees. So this is the important point. You get inspired by someone. Don't forget that. Don't make like, you don't need that. Don't make like you could be better than, or you can rise. You don't do that. Just apply the ears in hearing. Prabhupada said, one who hears nicely, they can speak nicely. But if you haven't heard, you're going to project what you know. And that's not Vedic way of living. Vedic way of living, we get it from the bona fide authority. We get it from a bona fide devotee. A bona fide devotee is not a scam artist. This is the thing. In the material world, what do we find? Scams, tricks, gimmicks. One person he's feeling nice because he's robbing the other person. The other person is feeling nice. He doesn't know he's being robbed. This is the material world. Although we're in the material world, there's a way for us to be in the spiritual world. That is the thing. Although we're in the material world, if we cultivate this service attitude in Krishna consciousness, then we will transcend and enter into the spiritual dimension. That's a factual reality. We can doubt it, but the doubts are cleared up when you see a realized soul. Then all your doubts are cleared up. And how the ecstasy develops, not by just serving. If I'm serving, I'm doing some service. If I'm not making spiritual advancement, I wouldn't feel any ecstasy. That is the thing in the beginning. You do a service, you don't feel ecstasy. But gradually, as you become purified, then that ecstasy will develop. It wouldn't develop just from the service, but it would develop from good association, from devotees who have genuine love for us, and we also appreciate their services with us, and that's the way the love will develop. Your memories, devotees that help you, the spiritual master, or the great devotees. Even if you see a great devotee you don't know, still you offer respect to that person, although you don't know them. That's the spiritual etiquette. If you see a realized person, somewhere you offer respect to him, you're going to get a lot of credit in devotional service because you're going beyond the regular activities of humans, which is competing with each other. Who is better, who knows the philosophy better, who is, As soon as you enter devotional service, competition disappears because you have nothing to compete with anymore. And that's where you become safe, because you become interested in helping other devotees. And that frees you from your own sinful reactions. So it'll take time, not that we come to devotional service, that we want to, in a few weeks, in a couple of months, we want to be a Mahabhagavad. Uttama Adhikari. When an Uttama Adhikari walks, it seems like he floats off the ground. And Uttama Adhikari also carries the Krishna effulgence. Effulgence is wards off material distress. It's just the energy that's called Hulindini Shakti. But what it does, it wards off all kinds of darkness and distress in your life. And you still, how the ecstasy develops is even more confidential than that. How the ecstasy develops is very confidential. The secret is that the spiritual master is engaged in transcendental ecstasies with the personality of Godhead in different relationships, as described here. Sometimes we're serving, actually we're serving now in Santaras. We're serving in Santaras because we're doing services and we put ourselves as a humble servant and the menial servant of Krishna. If somebody asks us, can you help out? Of course, I can help is Krishna services. And that's called Santaras. Then there's above that, there is the friendly rasa. The friendly rasa, that's very important. You can become Krishna conscious by the friends you have, by the devotee friends you have. And in Krishna consciousness, you have to be friendly to everyone to become Krishna conscious. That's why it's called the friendly rasa. So this is more. And then more than that is this motherly rasa, parental rasa. That's even deeper than the friendly rasa. But all these rasas will contain the friendly rasa. It's very important. It pervades all the rasas. So you cannot be, there's no such thing as a mean devotee or unkind devotee or devotee that does not like other devotees. There's no such thing like that. That's completely banished from the spiritual world. So if we want to make the advancement, we have to be interested in the qualities, how you develop them. If you don't have all the good qualities, you have to begin with humility by learning from others. If you can't learn from others, you're in trouble. So and what is stated here, very important, the Maru demon. We should be interested, what is the Maru demon? Because this is one of Krishna's enemies. The Maru demon is a demon in the mind, right? We all know them. Isn't it like he's a stranger to us? Because that has to be conquered. You know, who wants to make the sacrifice to become a devotee? This Madhu demon in the mind will influence the person, don't do this. Just try to be happy in the material sense field. So there's a demon. And we have to find the way to recognize the demon is living with us. You know, we take on the demon as a friend. So we're in big trouble. And to get out of it, we need the information, proper information, and we need the association. Just like this temple here, this association with Krishna. And the more you associate, the more you become purified, the more you'll attain. This is the objective. We cannot say the objective is to enjoy ecstasy, but the objective is transcendental ecstasy, to be absorbed in that. It's not like sense gratification. If you go and say, Krishna, I just want transcendental ecstasy, you know, not you necessarily. The transcendental ecstasy is associated with Krishna. And without Krishna, it is not there. So we have no choice. If we want to become happy, this is the way to become happiness. In Krishna consciousness, what we do, we solve all the miseries in the world. We can solve all the miseries of the world. First thing, the world is suffering. Why? Because of the bodily concepts of life. That's called a poor fund of knowledge. That you don't know what the spirit soul is, you don't know what eternity is, you don't know what God is, you don't know what the material energy is. What do you know? There's so many things you don't know. What do you know? So that means that that level of realization has to be attained, and it can be attained. And this Krishna conscious process is for that, to help you attain that. Not just to be a person that's, happy, but a person that knows the responsibility to the world and to other people. Like Srila Prabhupada, he knew his responsibility to the world, to the living entities on this planet. And so whatever he realized, he brought it for us to share among ourselves and to become realized. This is going to go on for a long, many hundreds of years. And we have, of course, a great opportunity to hear from Srila Prabhupada and his, disciples. The disciples of Prabhupada, what is their credit? They're just dedicated to Prabhupada. Not that they just dedicated to philosophy. The philosophy is about Prabhupada. You see here the bona fide spiritual master. The philosophy is about the spiritual master. That's the first step in reaching Krishna. If you say, I'll get Krishna, I'll follow everything and do everything nicely, without the help of the spiritual master, you won't be successful. Because you need love in your you need love in your association to make it happen. That's one ingredient. Without that, it won't happen. Therefore, what did Prabhupada do? Did he just give his disciples, just take the books, just read the books, and, chant Hare Krishna? No. What did he do? He made his disciples live with him. He brought them into the temple and to live with him and teach them day to day how to do it. This is how it's done. Personal attention. It's like when you're a little child and the teacher holds your hand and shows you how to make the A, shows you how to make the B, right? So you get a feel of someone else showing you what to do. And that's how it's done, But you have to have the personal contact. If you don't have a bona fide spiritual master, you should be looking for that. You should be looking for that. That is the direction. Prabhupada say a disciple is never going to be better than the spiritual master. So you don't have to worry about it. You'll never be better than the spiritual master. Prabhupada said that, just like Bhaktisiddhanta, he did his preaching in India. But Srila Prabhupada, he did his preaching all over the world. But Prabhupada said that doesn't mean he's greater than Bhaktisiddhanta. So what the greatness, that is because of your service to Krishna. That is what makes you great. Your greatness is not yours. And we can understand that, and we can advance in spiritual life, in Krishna consciousness. We have to keep advancing. We should never be like I'm just leaving it there for a while, That means you have to be, what is that? Enthusiasm. Prabhupada said, ahutsava, enthusiasm. You come to the temple, you're supposed to be dancing around. You see the dancing around is going on, jump into it. Don't look at that as, oh, those are for little kids, No, we're the kids, like cowherd boys. In Krishna consciousness, you're not trying to be a big man. You're trying to be a kid, like the cowherd boys. Innocent person. So you have to practice it. Because in the material world, we get trained how to be sophisticated and how to, cut each other's throats. Which is anyone who knows business life, right? It's like that. So although there are so many miseries are there in the material life, we can stop the miseries by becoming a genuine devotee. We can stop the miseries. And we can increase in the ananda and the transcendental ecstasy. That's what's available. If you taste it, the ecstasy, you go home, the ecstasy will still be with you. That's the nature of it. It grows, it grows, it grows, it grows. Material happiness, does it grow? It gets stale, right? First it's nice, then nothing now. That's the trick of material life. Who is presenting this trick? The goddess Durga. She's the tester of everyone, you know. And if you fail the test, you get to take it over again. But who wants to take a test over and over again without getting to the perfection? And so first there's religious life. You know, somebody decides, I want to live a religious life. Why? Because they see people who are not living religious life are suffering more. People are suffering more if they don't go to the temple, they don't go to the church, they don't go to the mosque, they end up suffering. So this is what makes a person religious, because he sees there's suffering going on. He doesn't want to be one of the sufferers, right? And this makes a person turn to religious life. And the perfection of all religious life is Krishna consciousness. This consciousness about Krishna. Prabhupada said, we didn't want to call this movement the movement of God consciousness, right? Because that is just, you're left leaving out Krishna too. If you leave out Krishna in anything, right? You're not going to be happy with anything, leaving out Krishna. But in anything, you put Krishna there, you'll be happy. That is the main ingredient, Krishna. So the name of Krishna is the form of Krishna. The name of Krishna and the form of Krishna is the same thing. You chant the name, you see the form is Krishna too. Not just the form itself is Krishna. And the form itself is the name of Krishna. So it's very hard to understand for somebody in the material level. We just have to come off of the material platform. And that requires constant association and guidance, because, you know, we're dealing with the Madhu demon. If the Madhu demon, if you make like he's not there, he's not there, he's not there, you'll be fooling yourself. And then the demon will also employ different tricks to get you to not be serious. You know, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, you don't have to do this, you have to do it. So we just have to interject the Krishna consciousness into our minds, and this will destroy this Madhu demon. When we put Krishna in, it purifies our mind. And the more we think of Krishna, the more our minds will become serene and very clear on what we're doing. This is a different science. It's not put together by you know, people who are just speculating what to do. You can speculate what to do, and at the end of your life, if you're not correct, you'll fail. So your speculation is not good. That's why we take shelter of the pure devotees. That's how it's done. Anyone who takes shelter of the pure devotee, they will become, like is stated here, very happy and very full of ecstasy. Doesn't mean that tribulations in life wouldn't be there. But what it means is that you will have the ecstasy to deal with the situation. You have to go through the karmic reaction. They cannot be stopped. Krishna consciousness, when you do it, you don't create any reactions to it, because its service to Krishna has no reaction. It just has purification and more surrender and more, you know, opportunities to surrender. And so the services itself, you should always be interested in getting some service to do, right? Any service we do, who gave us the service? It's Krishna who gave us the service. Say, like in the beginning of this movement, we had no book distribution. What we do, we go on the street corner and do Harinam. And, you know, by doing Harinam, those who became purified, then we were able to distribute the books. A devotee, because if he's sincere And if he has nice energy, he can give that to somebody else. If he says, take this book, the person will take the book. That's the potency of Krishna consciousness. There's one devotee, nice devotee, proper disciple named Tripurari Maharaj. He was one of the first book distributors. And what he distributed books just by his purity. Just by his purity, people would take the books from him. He would just stand there and somebody would say, you giving the book? That's because he was so purified. So we should understand that purification is a force that we can use in our devotional service. It may take some time. It'll take a long time. It depends on you. Sometimes it will take a short time. But in any case, you have to go to the time that it takes. If it takes 1,000 years, you still have to do it. This is the principle, actually. That's why somebody would be in a mountain for 10 years and all of that to be fixed into getting it. So we're all fixed. Prabhupada said that devotee householder is just like a yogi in a Himalayan mountains, because with that for household ashram, there's so many difficulties, so it becomes like an austerity. But if you do the austerity in the Lord's service, then you'll find that you'll attain this purification, you'll attain this ecstasy, and you'll be able to, help in the services. Very important. The ecstasy is like the gas in the tank, right? If there's no gas, the car is poop, 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 right? But if you're full of gas, then you're going on the highway, 70 miles an hour. But if no gas, then you can't go. So ecstasy is like that. You need to develop it. Generally, you don't hear that this is what is to develop, right? But this verse is saying this is what the development is. And that's how come a devotee remains happy and blissful and making progress all the time, because of the transcendental ecstasy. It begins in a small way. It may be in a small way, but you have to make it bigger. Just like if you have a campfire, right? The fire will remain small unless you get a big log and put in it. If you get a big log and put in it, then it begins to blaze and blaze and blaze. So that is something like what we're doing. We're putting something in there that the Krishna consciousness will catch and blaze, and you'll become purified. And that is the development. It requires, patience. You have to change your whole character and your whole personality. All the impure things have to be removed. So Prabhupada compares that to like when we're boiling on a ghee, right? First, the butter looks pure already. But when you're in the fire, then all these big globs of impurities come up and then you take them out. So it's like that. First, we look inside that we're pure already. But then when we enter into the fire of devotional service, then we find all these impurities will come out. Then we can take them out, and then you'll see that we become nicer people and nicer devotees, and we can benefit the world. Nobody says anything wrong about a Hare Krishna devotee. Nobody says anything about that. Because on seeing a kind of person like that, you know that's a very serious affair, and it's something between the person and Almighty God. And so it's very important to them, it's very important to us also. So pure devotees, spiritual masters, they become important to us. We are, that's the people that we admire. That's the people that we admire. Just like some other people who they admire, or rock stars, some other singer, some other dancer or something. But we admire pure devotees. And because of that admiration, we also become, pure devotees by that association. Right? So it's we cannot say it's easy, right? Because it takes time. And you're dealing with the Madhu demon. So it takes time. And anyone who's able to take the time and go on and on and on Krishna will reward that person. Krishna does reward people who take shelter of him. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So all of this is going on, and we have to be very aware that Krishna is giving us the opportunity. We can grab onto the bead bag and we can keep chanting Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada said, when you're chanting Hare Krishna, you're with Krishna. You just have to recognize that. Krishna is all around you. When you know that, then you're not looking for Krishna because Krishna becomes manifest to you. So you become very happy by that Krishna manifests himself and you're satisfied. And you'll be able to, you should think of also different ways how to help other devotees. That is a very important part of your devotional service, you know. In the material world, it's what? Me, that's all. And who is satisfied? Nobody. But in Krishna consciousness, we're concerned with the other devotees and ultimately the spiritual master and Krishna. And therefore, we're relieved from being selfish and developing bad qualities. And when you develop the good qualities, it means that you'll be able to enter into the spiritual world. Because in the spiritual world, they're only letting people with good qualities remain there. So it's not that we kicked out of Vaikuntha, but Vaikuntha needs a certain type of person. And Krishna is not going to settle for less, right? So, you know, we have to cooperate with the Lord and his devotees. And that way we'll find our own, you know, purification. We shouldn't be just unhappy that we don't attain it right away. If you work in the material world, you do a job, you get the check right away, right? In spiritual life, you do the job, you get nothing right away. Because it's a development from the heart. It's not like artificial. How long you want to be with Krishna? It's not like a temporary affair. I just want Krishna for a few years. You're with Krishna eternally. You want Krishna eternally. So you know it's a question of time. Forget about time. You're with Krishna eternally. And therefore, you're beyond the time and space dimension. Okay, so these are very important points. Okay, so anybody has questions on these points? Any other question concerning devotional service? If there's no questions, you know, it means like you're becoming very enlightened. Yes, yeah, when you have no questions, it means like you are full of answers. Say it, I can hear it. How do you surrender to a spiritual master? By doing? Oh, that's very important. That's very important question, right? It's something like, you know what they say about chemistry? The chemistry has to be perfect chemistry. You shouldn't get a spiritual master just because he's popular. You have to get a spiritual master that mixes with your character perfectly. Don't get a spiritual master who you don't like. And don't get a spiritual master who you don't love. Okay? All right, so with these very simple points, everything is put together very nicely in this verse. If you follow this verse, you'll become Krishna conscious immediately. Okay, Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and his devotees.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for coming to this Sunday Feast program. Is anybody coming here for the first time? So please stand up. If you don't mind, please stand up. We'd like to welcome all of you, but especially those coming here for the first time with all the loud Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. We'll also have Krishna Raman Prabhu will bring to you a small token gift from our center. Thank you very much. Take your seats. Today's Sunday feast is sponsored by, let's see, 1 minute. Dheeraj Parekh Prabhu and Nirvata Parekh Mataji is sponsoring today's feast. Would you please come? For the pleasure of Shri Radha Shyamsundar, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Shri Gaunita, Shri Prabhupada, and all the assembled Vaishnavas, the book distribution scores from this week. Let's see. Is total of 36 books. Yeah, 22 books by one group and then 34 groups by another group. So 56 books by, well, not, yeah. 56 books by Avinash Prabhu and daughter Nagraj Prabhu, Sudhakar Prabhu, Keshav Madhav Prabhu, Sandeep Prabhu, Bimal Prabhu, Ravi Prabhu, Paramananda Chaitanya Prabhu, Achinta Manohar Prabhu, and oh man. Bimal Gupta Prabhu and Jagdish Shima Prabhu. So let's thank them with a loud Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Coming Friday and Saturday, there's a special seminar by two of our very senior brahmacharis from our Chapati temple, His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu and His Grace Damodar Prabhu. They'll be giving a seminar here on Friday and Saturday. The Friday timings are from 7 to 9 at the temple, and Saturday timings are from 5 to 8. Yeah, 5 to 8. And what's the topic? The seminar topic is on building relationships or something. Dealing with difficulties, yeah. So we are most welcome to attend both day seminars. It's a very enlivening seminar and very enlivening speakers. I know His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu from last 20 plus years. He is the one who was the first one to start the 6-session seminar on the science of self-realization. So you're most welcome. Also, we are in the Purushottam Mas, Adhik Mas, the special month which comes once in every 2.5 years. So on this month, it's a very auspicious month to increase our devotional service to whatever extent we can increase. So if you like to perform any kind of devotional service, please contact one of us. We can engage you in the service of the Supreme Lord. Also, if you like to donate in the service of the Supreme Lord, this is also a very auspicious month. On September 6th, we have Sri Krishna Janmashtami. Sri Krishna Janmashtami ki, yeah. It's on a Wednesday, right after the Labor Day weekend. For many, it's the beginning of the schools. But it's in the midnight, 7 p.m. to midnight. And next day is Prabhupada Appearance Day, September 7th. We'll be celebrating it in a big way here at the temple. So we have, as you know, every year we have this Kalash. It's already dispatched from India, special kind of gold and silver plated Kalash, which we are getting this time with a very ornate gift. So if you like to sponsor a Kalash, this Adhik Maas, you can do that for Janmashtami. We can start. We can have the roll call if anybody wants to sponsor. There are two categories, 1001 and 501. 1001 category, they also get a life membership card from our temple. That life membership card can be used for 3 days stay in temples around the world if they have a guest house. So that can be used. And 501, you can accrue that over 2 years. For 501, you can get a life membership card. So if anybody would like to sponsor, please raise your hands. We can take a roll call from today itself, especially in this month of Adhik Maas. I will add my name itself for 1001. Haribol. Akhilesh Krishnabu. 1001. Himesh Prabhu 1001. 501 Ashesh Krishna Prabhu. 1001 Kishore Bhupati Prabhu. Vajana Prabhu. 1001. 1001 Ashesh Karna Prabhu. Krishna Prabhu 1001. Vallabhacharya Prabhu 1001. Srinivas Prabhu 1001. Atul Prabhu 2000 or 1001. All right. Anybody else? Vikas Prabhu 1001. All right. Haribol Jai. So everybody is trying to take a bumper. Jagdish Shima Prabhu 1001. See, like Adhik Maas, you multiply your spiritual benefit. So anybody else who would like to get into this 1001 crowd, Prabhu? Prabhu, what's your name, Prabhu? Shivam. Shivam Prabhu, 1001. Let's thank all of this with a loud Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Anybody else? Sandini Mataji and Radha Madhav Prabhu, 1001. Jai. Vatsal Prabhu and Mataji, 1001. Haribol. Anybody else? Woohoo. Wow. Yeah, if you'd like to think about it and let us know later, that's also fine. Last few years, we had close to 100 plus sponsors. So Janmashtami, we closely estimate somewhere around 4,000 people coming. And we will have a weekend before, like the Labor Day weekend, Sunday and Monday, we are going to have day in Vraj, right? Weekend in Vraj, other. And on that weekend, we'll also celebrate Brahmotsav. So we will also have the lordships taken around in Surya Vahan and Chandra Vahan with Kirtan. So a lot of festivities on the Labor Day weekend and on midweek, where right on Wednesday and Thursday, we have Janmashtami and Prabhupada Appearance Day. Anybody else would like to sponsor? August 13th is our last Jagannath Rath Yatra of the year. It's right on Oak Tree Road, starting from Cinder Road and ending at Middlesex Avenue on Oak Tree Road, starting at 2 p.m., 2 to 4 p.m. So you're all welcome to attend, and please promote it to your friends and family. The prasadam will be served after 4 p.m. at 95 Piat Avenue, as usual, which is right around the corner where we end, very close to that. Okay, thank you very much. Now you can have Krishna Prasad. 501, Satyabha Mataji, Jai. Hold on. So if anybody else, no, some, so Mataji just raised her hand, so now it's the Mataji's time, so no, if any other Mataji want to join, Satyabha Mataji? Hari Hari Bol, Jai. Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Bhagwan ki Jai. Shri Shri Jagannath Bala Subhadra Mai ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Shri Panchatattva ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Premanande, Hari 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 Bol.